Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Catherine Walters, and I'm the Joy Coach. And I'm so delighted that you're here today, where I've gathered together 22 of the most amazing experts in a wide variety of fields to talk about a very important topic that is a concern for almost all of us. And that topic, as you know, is stress. So welcome to the Stress for You Summit. And these speakers, as I've mentioned, have gathered together their techniques, their tools that they use, that they share with their clients, and they will help you to transform your stress and burnout into more peace and prosperity. And perfect that I mentioned that today. Speaking of peace, prosperity, and joy, because who am I thinking of but Ellen Rogin? And she's our special guest for today, and she is an expert on finances and abundance and prosperity. So let me introduce Ellen a little bit more. She has an MBA, a CPA, and she's a certified financial planner. And Ellen also walks on what she calls the right side, balancing values, big picture ideas with meditation and humor. And all of this is combined with her professional training. She's the founder and president of a wealth management company north of Chicago. And Ellen presents to corporate audiences, associations, and women initiatives across the country. And her counterintuitive methods, which you'll see, but are so amazing for teaching lasting success and achieving both business and personal goals. And this is not just with abundance and prosperity, although she is the author of the New York Times bestseller, Picture Your Prosperity. Wow, Ellen, that is awesome. Welcome to our summit.
Thank you. Thank you. So excited to be here with you.
Oh, awesome. So I got to say, Ellen, I mean, here you are with a smile on your face, but when people think about their finances, they're not often smiling, because money and finances, those words are synonymous with stress. So why do people worry about money so much?
Yeah, it is this thing that keeps people up at night. They're worrying they're not going to have enough. They're going to lose what they have. And I think this comes from all of our upbringing around money. You know, it's said that we develop our attitudes and beliefs at an age much earlier than we could possibly imagine. Bruce Lipton said from conception to age 7. Mm-hmm. And that those are affecting us our whole life through. And people attach all this meaning to money. You know, I was an economics major in college, and we learned that money is a medium of exchange and that people are rational decision makers. Okay, like you and I know that is ridiculous. People are not always rational when it comes to their money. And it's because we attach. It could be, maybe it's love or security. There's this fear of not having enough. And it's so systemic that it causes, as you well know, incredible amounts of stress for people. And it doesn't have to be that way.
Oh, what a relief. I love that. It doesn't have to be that way. So how can we change it?
So it comes from two parts. Some of it is the internal work that you do, and some of it's the external, like the tactics, the actual strategies that you have. So some of the internal work is to really check in on what is it that you think about money? And is it true? Is it do you believe that it's really hard to manage money, or that you don't have a head for money, or that it's really easy and it flows to you easily and effortlessly? And maybe it's a combination of things. So the first step is really to start to think about, wow, what does it mean to you? I like to make the analogy of Big Bird, right? So when you think about Big Bird, what do you think about?
Oh, well, he's big and he's, I don't know, kind of clumsy. He's got good ideas, but sometimes they're not such great ideas.
Right. So this big yellow bird. So I have, whether it's a he or a she is somewhat ambiguous sometimes, maybe. But I have a little bit of a spoiler alert here. So there is actually a guy inside a big bird.
Yeah.
His name's Carol Spinney, or for many years was. And you don't think about that, though. There's actually someone in there moving Big Bird. You think about all the things that you just said. Well, our beliefs around money are like the guy who's moving Big Bird. But we're focusing on big birds. You're focusing on markets are scary, there's volatility in the world, I might lose my job, or it's hard to get business, or it's easy. And all this stuff outside of this, but not on what you're telling yourself about money. So a lot of the work is, what is it? What messages do you have? And a great way to start to look at this is, what was money like when you were growing up? Was it talked about? In my house, it was never talked about. It was more not what I heard, but what I saw. I saw dad going off to work and mom staying home. And when she eventually started her own business, it really wasn't about the finances. It was to kind of keep her busy. So as I grew into my professional career, I had a CPA and an MBA. I had my own business. And I realized I was playing the tape that money was my husband's job. Now, how ridiculous is that? I was a financial advisor. And so once I realized that, I'm like, okay, doesn't make any sense and doesn't serve me. So sometimes it's that easy just to look at what we believe. And that's so important. And then there's the external things that you can do to start to reduce stress, and is really to take action and start to look at what is flowing in, what is flowing out. I think that sometimes people are so stressed about money, they're afraid to look at the reality of what it is.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes it's not as bad as they think. So one of the simple things, I shouldn't say simple, it's simple but not necessarily easy to do, is to really get clear on what is flowing in, what your income is, and what's flowing out, what your expenses are. You will not hear me ever tell people they should set up a budget, because I don't think they actually work for most people.
No, it's kind of like a diet, right?
I was just going to say, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's like a diet. It feels restrictive. It's no fun. It's kind of like eating celery at a pizza party. Like, no one wants to do that. But that doesn't mean I don't think you should know that you should be blind to what's flowing in and out. It's really important. What I recommend instead is that you set up a prioritized spending plan so that you're really clear. Okay, this is what's flowing out. Do I value where I'm spending my money? Is it on things that are important to me? Is it on things that really aren't? You know, there was a woman who was at one of our workshops who had never done this activity before, and she was in a family business for a long time, was a business person, but never really looked at where she was spending her money. And when she went through this activity of looking where it went and prioritizing A, B, or C, she found that she was spending money, a lot of it, on her home, which she was divorced, her kids were out of the house. She didn't even value it that much anymore. And so it might seem like a not prosperous thing, but she said, you know what? I have this mortgage, I have all these expensive, all this clutter in my house. She made a big decision to sell her home, pay off her mortgage. She paid off some debt and freed up so much of her cash flow that she realized she didn't have to stay in this family business that she hated.
Wow.
Got out and started a new business, as happy as can be, loves where she lives with a view of Lake Michigan. So just through that activity of really getting clear on where her money was going, allowed her to make really big, wonderful changes in her life.
Well, and that, I love that whole process of it's the inner and the, the internal and the external, but then the prioritizing, and to really look at, like, where's my money going and where do I prioritize that I do want my money to go. Like, I know I love my cat dearly, and so when he's sick, it doesn't matter. It's like, of course I'm going to take him to the vet or whatever he needs, because he's a priority in my life. And and of course your business or whatever else, you see what's important and you make your money decisions on what's important to you
and what you value.
Right.
In life. Absolutely. And the thing is, most people are very where they spend money. They just do it because they always have. And I will say that most people underestimate what they spend. It's okay, but don't worry about it. It's just now a tool to then start to do a plan. And there's really not any other really good ways to start to do a plan of getting to where you want to be if you don't know what you're currently doing.
Right. And again, that would go back to dieting or to wanting to lose weight. If you don't know how much you're eating, you have no idea where to cut back. So basically what you're saying is, when you talk about your prosperity, it's like, get a picture of what your money, where you are, where you stand right now.
Yeah, so that's the analytic picture. And quite literally, when we talk about picturing your prosperity, we're talking about creating a prosperity picture for yourself with images. So this is where we go back to the internal work. So you may, of course, be familiar with creating a vision board. Well, this is like that, where you put images that represent things you want to have in your life. But the difference is we're to put it on a frame where you're setting your images based on when you want them to happen and if whether they're going to require money or not. So on the left side of the frame, let me see if I can quickly find a picture of this, but the left side are for goals or images that you want to have happen sooner, and the right side are for things that you want to have happen later. And the bottom half are for images that don't require money, and the top half for things that require money. So, okay, I'm not finding this easily, but you're getting the picture.
No, I can see they're like four quadrants.
Four quadrants, right? So I have a goal of spending a year and traveling the world. So I have an airplane image on my upper right-hand quadrant, would be later, and would probably require money unless someone's hiring me to speak around the world, which would be awesome. I'm open to this or something better. And then in my lower right-hand quadrant, I have an image of someone meditating. It's an important part of what I do every day. It doesn't cost me any money. It's something that is happening right now. And what you're doing by creating this vision board is two things. It's a visual financial plan for yourself. So the top half are things you can start to plan for. Okay, well, how do I start to plan for that trip around the world? Well, I got to figure out how my business would work if I was still working, how much money I would need. And it brings a lot more juice. It gives you the why you're doing this versus retirement. My kids
right. I love
the traditional things that people plan for.
Right. And well, then it's like, it's so much more meaningful. The other thing is, it's like you're creating a picture of, say, something like a move or whatever, a vacation, doesn't matter, whatever it is that's really important to you. Could even be, for your child, for your children's education, if that was something of great power, but putting it there, I love how you're using the left brain and the right brain, basically, with the creativity of the pictures and the connection with money. It's like, we don't usually do this, money, I think for many of us is cold, and it's like, it's something that balancing your banking statement. It's not something that's a lot of fun. It's tedious for a lot of people. But here is where you can actually make it more playful and visual, so you can see it every day.
Yeah, and it's taking that visual part and actually creating action with it.
Right.
So it's great to be feeding your brain with the images you want, and it's so much more effective when you can actually take action and do the steps you need. So you'll know, okay, what do I need to save each month to take this trip around the world? Do I have the money now? Do I not? Do I need to create something else? And as you said, taking that right and left, the magic happens. Because what I see in my industry of financial services, it's all on the left brain, analytics, asset allocations, things like that. And then in the more transformational spiritual world, sometimes it lives too much on the right side, where there's not enough action, or how do I actually do this? And where I see the magic happens is when you marry the two, and it's not just to reach your goals, it's to be happy when you get there. Because there's lots of people with lots of money who go home and fight with their partner and kick their dog.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I love the point that you're talking, you expand it beyond. That's what, when we said in your bio, that it's like, it's not just about having the money. It's about being happy and, enjoy. And part of this, whole series is about being joyful, love, and peaceful, and loving your life.
Yeah.
And so that's where you're taking this our conversation is like, take it, not the pressure on the finances, but see the whole picture.
Absolutely. Because it's not just about accumulating the money. It's all it is a tool to help you live the life that you want for you and your family and your community, and make the difference that you want in the world. That's really all it is. It's just a tool for doing that. It's not its own thing, but we often make it its own thing with its own life. And
Right. And yeah, and it's almost like the thing that you either want to think about it or you don't, you want to completely avoid it. It's almost like a lover or, some relationship that went south or what. It's just, it's a love hate. It's often a very much a love hate relationship, and that doesn't serve us with having that opinion and belief about money. That won't bring us anything.
Right. I like to say when I uncover something for myself and I talk to this, when I give workshops and presentations, is one of the easiest things you can do if you catch yourself with that, like, oh, money is hard, or it's people who have it are evil, or something that you doesn't serve you. I just say to myself or out loud, cancel, clear. Cancel that thought, clear it away. And it can be that easy. It doesn't have to be years of therapy or something hard to get rid of a belief. It can just be noticing it and getting rid of it, replacing it with something that serves you better instead.
Absolutely. And this is what you just said, concurs with probably almost every speaker that I've had on this series is, delete, edit, cancel, clear. And then, it's just take it to a higher thought. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Replace it. So one of the things that we want to talk about, Ellen, how can people reduce some of the angst that they have about their money?
Yeah, great. Okay. So we'll talk about inner and outer work. So, some of it is, let's just say, let's do it together. Take a breath, right? We know this from health things, that when you take breaths, you oxygenate your brain, it calms your nervous system down. So important to do with money, because you cannot make good decisions if you're not calm. I mean, if you think about, there's this, we know, right, that you're supposed to sell high and buy low. But we don't do that often. Many people don't. And it's because when things are scary, it's natural for people to just want to run, right? So that's why it's so important to make financial decisions from a place of calm. So breathing, meditating, yoga don't sound like typical financial strategies, but as a stress joy expert, of course, that's so important. Visualizing what you most want, meditation, gratitude. So in the depths of the recession, what I saw is people were so freaked out. And if you can pause and say, okay, what's working? What am I thankful for? I have a roof over my head. I have food on the table. The sun's out today. It helps to reduce your stress levels. And they've actually found that grateful people actually can make more money. If you think about it, if you have people working for you and you're a jerk, that's not going to work well, versus if you're grateful. So these aren't just stress reduction strategies, they're actual financial strategies. From a tactical standpoint, you can also, some people call it emergency reserve. I've been accused of being relentlessly positive. I like to call it a solutions fund. So
I like that.
It was my friend Denise Brown who coined that term, so I want to give her credit for that. It is a way to have a cash cushion that allows you to come up with solutions. So it's, wow, I want to go on vacation. Now I have a solutions fund. Or if something else happens that hopefully is positive, but sometimes, it's a little less than excellent, you have a cash cushion there to deal with it. And I find that when people have a big enough cushion, it's so much easier for you to deal with the volatility in life or in the world. That's a great thing to do.
Absolutely.
Also, a huge proponent of financial giving. So we know that volunteerism reduces stress, helps us live longer, but there's also a huge benefit of giving of your financial resources. So in the depths of the recession, I saw people hanging on so tightly to what they had. I don't have enough, I'm not going to be okay, just at the time when charities needed their money more than ever. But here's the thing, if you're like this, how can you possibly receive, right? Just visually. Where also, if you're always giving and never hanging on for yourself, that doesn't really work either. So I recommend that you set up a systematic giving plan. So just like it's important to set your savings up on autopilot, where each month or week or quarter you have money coming out of your accounts or your paychecks going into a savings vehicle, I recommend that you do the same thing with your giving. So to take a percentage of your income and put it into an account to then be given away to whoever, right? It could be a charity. If you're in the United States and it's a qualified charity, you get a tax deduction for that. But maybe it's a family member that needs your help. Whatever it is, it's up to you. But what I find is when it's set aside, it feels different than when you give it away. And I know for me personally, it's allowed me to be much more generous. If someone's doing a breast cancer walk or something else, I make a bigger donation. And I feel like I'm giving them a standing ovation for their good work in the world. And then when it's a charity that's important to my husband and myself, we can be really deliberate about what we can afford to give. I'm going back for the 4th time now to Ghana in January to do some volunteer work there. I have a pool of money I've been saving in my charity fund, in my giving account, that's going to be used for that. Because to me, that, first of all, it's a tax deduction, it's doing good work, and I have the funds to do that. So there's all sorts of benefits that can be had from saving for yourself and saving to give to others. Big stress reducer too.
Oh, absolutely, because you have that cushion.
You have that cushion.
It's right there. But I also love, and I think it's really important, this image that you had with the fist holding on to all of our abundance. I have to raise my hands high so you can see them. And then also always letting go. It doesn't neither work. So it's kind of like, maybe it's almost one in one. So or not even, but it's some directing to ourselves and always some directing out. So that there's that balance, because I think that partially, again, gets people in trouble financially when they're overgiving and overspending, and they're always over to everybody else, but are they giving to their own family and meeting their own needs in a comfortable way without getting into debt?
For sure. And they're both important. And one way for those, if you're really a giver, and giver, and we know we are because it feels good, right? That's the dirty little secret about giving, is part of the reason we do it is it makes us feel awesome. Here's the thing. Studies have shown that when you're a giver and you give to others, it makes you feel better. So if you think of it the other side, if you're not allowing other people to give to you, you're not open to receiving, you're hurting someone else's ability to feel good, right? So and one way you can kind of test this is, think about just with compliments. Are you really open to receiving them? Do you push them back and go, oh, this old thing? I laugh that people, or if someone gives you a compliment, you like throw it right back. They say, oh, I like your necklace. Oh, love your shoes. Like, how about thank you? Thank you.
Exactly. It's so important.
Dissing their energy. Often I see people get really great compliments and they don't take it in, and it's like throwing back the gift someone's really trying to give to you.
I love that. And it's so true. And you see it all the time where people, I think in a way that goes back to that early programming that you mentioned in the beginning of, we're taught, especially as women, to like give and people please and all of that. And yet we're not allowed to receive. We're not taught to receive. It's not modeled for most of us on how to receive. So we don't do it very well, and we actually don't do it very gracefully. So we blip it off, we blow it off, or we will pay the compliment back to someone rather than actually being able to just, like you said earlier, just breathe it in, because I think our beings are starving for some of this acknowledgement from someone else. We want it for ourselves. We want to give it to ourselves too, but we do want to hear things like that.
And if we take it back to money, if you are running a successful business or you want to grow your wealth, you have to be open to receiving. And it's really okay. If you have some messages that say, not good, or rich people are evil, or whatever, if you, because I'm such a big believer in helping others with your money, if you don't have money, how are you possibly going to make a difference in the world? Right? Yeah. Yes, you can volunteer, but I absolutely believe that a lot of this is financial giving too. We live in a material world. It's really okay. Yes, we live in a spiritual or an ethereal world. We also live in a material world, and money is an important part of that. So if you're accumulating, it can help you and your family and your community, and it's super important.
It really, and that bears repeating, because it's just so important. if you don't have money, how can you help others? And yet people want to be of service. But if you don't have, and we're also, the other part is, I don't think the universe wants us to be struggling and have it all be hard and difficult. That's not the way it's supposed to be. We get to have it be a life that's more comfortable and enjoyable for all of us. So why do we make it we make it such a struggle when we really don't need to?
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like that we do more to push it away than it takes to bring it in. It's out there, and it's more about what we're doing to keep it away from us than what we're doing to bring it into us.
Oh, that's true. We push it away, and we push compliments. We push it all away rather than allowing ourselves to receive it.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is an abundant universe. We know that, but yet there's probably those beliefs that many of us are programmed with, like, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy enough, I'm like blah, 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 that, really does it. It's absolutely fascinating. Oh, Ellen, I had a really great question. I hope it can pop back into my brain.
Let me just mention one thing as you're thinking about that, about stress. So there are studies that have been done that found that when people are really, really stressed about money, like in serious financial straits, which I get sometimes happens to people, and it is a horrible feeling, they found that your IQ actually drops when you're in financial stress. So how can you possibly get yourself out of a hole when you're not thinking as clearly? So that's why, I'm so thrilled you're doing this whole series on stress reduction, because it's really hard I like to think, if you're in a hole and it's deep and dark, and what you're doing is looking down, how can you find your way out?
Right.
So these, it's not airy-fairy. It's not, with your finances, it's crucial that you have self-calming skills for you to be really successful in making investment decisions and making purchasing decisions. So to have those tools is so important.
Well, it is, because like, you think about it, when you're like, let's say you're on a spending spree, or you have, you have like an addiction to spend. It's like, you're not even breathing. You're not even really thinking. It's just a high that you get on a roll. You can't stop it, but you're really not grounded in your body. And so if you are breathing and are calming, then, you are soothing yourself, you can think, you can start to actually make some, valid decisions, as opposed to just doing it. Which sometimes you do want to just do it and take action, but there are other times when you want to like step back a little bit.
Saying that about the spending spree, I just want to circle back to the giving thing, and to really being giving and gratitude, because there are one of the biggest benefits I've gotten out of traveling to developing countries and doing work in Ghana in particular, it costs $500 for these kids in the community to go to high school. Wow. So they can't get past 8th grade without having $500. The average income's $50 a month. And so, when I think about how easy it is to spend just going to get a $4 cup of coffee every day, like someone can change their life with them. I mean, not like it's not okay. I'm all for spending money. It's just, it helps to put things in perspective. Like I joke, do I really need another sleeveless dress? I live in Chicago, for God's sakes. The sleeveless dress situation, the season is pretty short here. But so like I kind of do a check-in, and then I can go, you know what? It's fun. I like them. Okay, then I'll give something away to someone else, or I'll, make sure I'm donating an important. It's just that, as you were saying, that consciousness about it. Gratitude and giving, I think, helps you take a breath to really start to assess this as well.
I like that. That's a cool way of thinking of too. It's like gratitude and giving. They go hand in hand. Because in gratitude, you've received something. So, or it's something that you're appreciating that's there. So, and then you can either give it, they just work perfectly together.
The giving's a physical manifestation of your gratitude.
Yes, exactly. So, Ellen, you have some special gift for all of us. So, for all of our viewers and listeners. So, please share. I so
want you to have tools and take this further than we can in our conversation here. So if you go to myprosperitygift.com, which I'm pretty sure you have a link on.
Absolutely, we do.
I have guided meditations there for you. So a prosperity flow meditation. This is about programming your brain to bring in what you want. I have a list of the top 10 tips to create prosperity. There's some really practical things there as well. There's downloads from organizational solutions, so like how to clear clutter, how to start to track your spending in a spending plan. And as a special bonus, there's a 7-part audio series, short but really impactful, that I have. So there's jam-packed with resources to take this conversation further.
Wow. I mean, talk about speaking your truth here. I mean, look at that generous giving. I mean, you're just doing it. I mean, and that's part of it. You're modeling for us, what we can do.
Well, thank you. Yeah. And I still want, part of the reason I do this is I know when people can get past the conversation of, am I going to be okay, to how much can I give, the whole world is going to change.
Absolutely.
We are so blessed with what we have, and it's great. Enjoy, spend your money, and know you're going to be okay so you can help others do the same as well.
Right. And that's important. So to know that it's there, to really start trusting that money will be there for you. Mm-hmm. And then when and part of that trust, that's what I know we're pretty much finished with the conversation, but still part of that trust by giving, that's showing that we do trust that there's more.
Yes, and I bet you can for sure think of ways that when you've given to someone, something's come back to you, and not necessarily from the same person.
Well, not you.
Right? Like I've mentored, I've helped somebody, I've written a charitable check, and all of a sudden new business comes in from someone I haven't talked to in years. Like it's not logical, but it flows in, and everyone's had that experience. It's just kind of waking up to it sometimes to know it's really true.
And remembering to do that. And the more you, like, I just realized for myself is that I've had giving deductions that are like, they're just deducted like on a monthly basis to places, which is great. And yet I don't feel connected to them because I see them when my credit card bill comes in, but I don't have like a specific date or anything where I can say, oh, I made my payment. So I figured either I need to change that and do monthly things that are my actual doing, so that I can feel it, because I'm not engaged, I'm not involved in that giving, and so it's not impacting me. I'm not feeling it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's really interesting. It just feels like another bill that's being automatically deducted.
Right. Instead of, like I love it. One's the Sierra Club. Of course I love giving to the Sierra Club, but I don't think of it that way because it just comes in the Visa bill. So I realize I need to come up with something that, honors that donation was made, because I want to do it, of course, but
maybe you can just send a reminder on your phone every month for the day it comes out saying, thank you from the Sierra Club. Not that they wouldn't do that for you, but like, hey, you've helped the environment.
Yeah, it's silly that, it feels funny that I even need to do that.
No, I get it. I totally get it.
It's not real enough. The giving isn't real enough just to have it in a bill, because that's what it's coming up to, and that's not giving me joy. So I'm going to have to play with that. So the phone app is a thought. So Ellen, again, we could go on and on with her suggestion. So get her book, and definitely, sign up to get her all the abundance of and generous gifts that Ellen has for all of us, because it really is, they will definitely reduce your stress, not only about money, I suspect, but on probably many other things as well. So again, thank you, Ellen. Thank you, everyone, for being here on this particular conversation about stress and finances. And I look forward to talking with you again very soon. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.